Hello there everyone and welcome back. I have finally completed my endeavor to go over each and every one of the factions that we have here in Armada 2, dedicating about a week at the very least of my time for each of these factions to hopefully demonstrate the wide variety of different playstyles and at least, ideally, give you a good sense on how you can win with these type of factions. But sure, I've only played them for like a week dedicated for each individual faction, so I seriously doubt I'm like the pinnacle of performance for all these factions, at least with what I've shown on the YouTube video. But I like to think it's still a success in at least helping people who may not be able to grasp their head around like maybe the micromanagement intensity of all the Eldari, or even how you should be trying to play with the orcs there. Even though it is so damn simplistic micro-wise, there's still a lot of positioning and making sure your rear is not exposed, simply put, due to how fragile they can be, and a lot of other nuances. And expect a community post up soon on my channel for when Season 3 begins. I am going to be dedicating at least about a month of my time to a specific faction, and then for quote-unquote, I suppose, try-hard it, I guess, and hopefully really break down the ultimate strengths of what these factions have. But until then, it's time to celebrate. I also have more in mind other than that, but this week alone, if nothing else, I'm going to be celebrating and playtesting a bunch of random fleets, especially ones that I've been using during my live stream. And the first one I'm going to be playing as, hell, you may have even already seen an example of this in my last Corsair battle. We're going with the Lance Heavy type of Imperial Navy fleet. It's a little bit different than the 5 Armageddons, for I like a little bit of versatility because you never know when fighter bays are going to be warranted. Hell, I'm going to have to look into the possibility of maybe downgrading to a Defiance if I can get something better to supplement and replace it. But so far, we have the Apocalypse, which I am really excited to see if I can do justice with this ship. Since it seems like it has a lot of power, it is a little bit tricky to maneuver without a doubt. With the lack of high energy turn, hell, even the slower speed makes it tricky to do what most battleships want to do, which is soak the brunt of the damage, since they are a lot more resilient at taking critical hits that might cripple them otherwise. But still, we got 3 battle cruisers in the Armageddons, a lot of lances, and best of all, it synergizes, or at least it's the yin to the yang of the torpedoes and the ramming spurs. This is a weird combination, but with the 8, maybe 9 matches I did during my live stream, this fleet has performed immaculately. I don't even know if I said that properly, but I like to think there's some real potential to this fleet. It remains to be seen, since I am relying so heavily on lances, how it might fare against like torpedo-centric Agiani, since I fear it may be too slow with the sheer burst potential they have to offer, or at least to bear on me. But so far, all the other matches, hell, even Corsairs, mind you, it was like, what, double Void Stalker for the Corsairs, and the Agiani I did face off against were not the torpedo-centric ones. It has been going successfully otherwise. So let's celebrate this momentous occasion, or at least I'm going to celebrate. I don't know about you, but it's going to be a different fleet nonetheless to enjoy. Okay. So we're getting the classic good versus evil. I just still couldn't tell you which one's actually the evil faction, which one's the good faction. A lot of people will tell you it's the Imperial Navy, or at least the Imperial Man. You never know. Chaos have a different story there, if they are to be believed. Which in all honesty I wouldn't trust them for a moment, especially someone that looks like they have their face covered there with the nurgliness. You can't trust a face like that, especially when you can't even see fully. Never mind the fact he looks like he's inhaling something. Good God, who knows what drugs he's on. Nonetheless, we're likely gonna deal with heavy lance type of fleet, which in theory my opponent is better equipped with that, since they probably have more lances to me, never mind the higher speed and mobility they have access to. But it comes down again heavily to what they're actually fielding. I could possibly just hide behind my Apocalypse, or at least, well, hiding's the wrong word, maybe just sit my Armageddons behind my Apocalypse, so that way again it can take the brunt of the damage and avoid a lot of the critical hits. But if my opponent leaves a window... Oh, I don't recognize you, I apologize. I don't know what to say there, but I'm hopeful I can at least give them an entertaining time. That's ultimately what I want. I hate to be the cause of people rage quitting Armada 2 just because I'm destroying them immensely. Oh well, nonetheless, let's get this started. We're seeing 4 ships, so I'm assuming this may be battleships in that case. I'm going out of the limits battleships because I think with Grand Cruisers they can at least fit 5 of them. I want to say anyway. And I could be wrong. I think there's like a carrier type of Grand Cruiser fleet that at least equates to like 4 different ships. But you never know, there are also light cruisers around. Hell, I have my own fighters to kind of identify them and at least start engaging them. Since I never did thought to change my skills at all, since Disruption Bomb is a bit of an awkward ability to use with a lance-centric type of fleet, because after all, look at this range, and then compare it with the sheer range of my other weapons. I can kind of destroy their shields amazingly, and never mind the fact I kind of overlooked the fact that Disruption Overcharge is kind of amazing in its current state with such a lance-heavy type of fleet, since I'm always guaranteed to hit them. So as much as I hate the idea of using that exclusively for everything but at least what the wording would suggest, which would be to deal with hull fields and help pause Necron's regeneration, I'm not really fond of the ability to completely destroy the shields, and I already said it before about how I dislike it like against Tyranids, which rely heavily on their shields for the point defense.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
But we got what? Actually, can I just fire torpedoes? I'm allowed to at least fire a torpedo salvo.
Ship ready.
Let me just at least.
You have seized a strategic area.
Hold that thought. My opponent's not moving, and I'm kind of wanting to kind of get in their face some. Oh yeah, wrong group. Silly me. I'm losing my train of thought in this monologue of mine. Just a little bit, but we're seeing possibly 2 despoilers. So that's a lot of fighters that might destroy my torpedoes, but at the same time, I got plenty to deal with. Hell, I'm not against being revealed. I have frigates to help in this manner some. And I think those were melted torpedoes, weren't they? Yeah, they were melted torpedoes, so easy oh, they are. Let's see, Grand Cruisers anyway, so you're going to want to repair those.
Your orders?
That short burn torpedoes for you there. It helps a lot in that matter. Now, the big question, can I do it again and make it stick? I don't want to burn all my torpedoes because you never know when the melted torpedoes are going to be amazing because of the sheer damage they will do over time. But I'm willing to try one more and just grab the objectives here. My opponent's just hiding, and I'm fine with that. Once I'm in range, I can start murdering them properly. Since my opponent did reveal themselves, and they might reveal themselves again. Yep. And once the shields are gone, maybe I can start. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not gonna sadly hit, but at least they're out of the gas cloud.
Engaging engines.
And I don't. Well, actually, they're burning all their combustion gauge, so maybe I can get away with a Nova Can here.
Ship ready.
Ooh, engine critical hit. I wasn't even aiming for it. Well, I was going to say maybe I aimed for the generators, which probably is not true. But with that engine critical hit and the melted torpedoes from earlier, I don't need to tell you how useful this is. That's a good synergy with melted torpedoes, even if they do like no damage at all. Any follow-up critical hits to like lance fire like that can be punished heavily, especially early on, no less. But let me turn on my focus fire. Let's actually kill this Grand Cruiser with that said. Since the other 2 are kind of AWOL.
Aye, Admiral.
Do I want to fire more?
Fury interceptors in flight.
Is there a way I can fire torpedoes on this thing? I can only realistically get 3 torpedoes.
Course engaged.
Do I have only 1 charge of meltas. I want to save that for an actual engagement.
Heading acknowledged.
Ideally. Oh. I figured I burnt one of the scanner pulses already. But bombers are getting shot down. Disruption bomb can be evaded really damn well. And it sounds like we got some good torpedo hits there.
Ship ready.
Now, micro warp jump is a bit odd, but it helps to keep my fleet together, even though I technically don't need to jump with it right now. But the one benefit is it still gets to shoot. That's something to keep in mind with the micro warp jump. It doesn't pause my weaponry like an actual emergency jump. I want to ram you first. I want to hit you with torpedoes is what I'm trying to say. There. Now I feel better about my life decisions.
Aye, Admiral.
You have
Now, I
seized
can't
the
remember
strategic
if you
area.
if repaired yet or not. I'm assuming no, but
Underway.
these melted torpedoes will force it regardless.
We wait your command.
And I'm trying to figure out what kind of fleet this is. Oh.
We wait your command.
Oh yeah, that was the broadside torpedoes I fired earlier. I kind of, since they hit their ship so much, I didn't realize there was a second battleship around, even though I kind of commented on earlier, didn't I?
We serve.
You have accumulated 25%.
Now, point defenses. I'm trying to wonder. Oh, keep in mind, one of my ships are about to explode. Let's correct that right now.
Burn retros. One of our ships is gone, sir.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Bulkheads failing.
Alright,
Ship ready.
let's finish this off quickly. I may not have been paying attention all that much, seeing as I did lose one of my cruisers, but the battleship's still intact. And they're about to lose two of their ships too, which we kind of been neglecting our boarding to that extent as well.
Lightning strike successful. Engaging engines.
Although, I was gonna say that they have more speed than me as well, but that's technically not true, is it? Since, with the Grand Cruise and all that.
Engaging engines. Your orders? Imperial escort destroyed.
Alright, can I at least rally and fix this? Yeah, there we go. Problem solved. Don't quite get to repair everything, but we're just talking too much. This is not the engage. This is not what you want to see there. So let's deal with this in style. Finish it off in style. With a blind torpedo shot.
You have accumulated 50% of strategic points.
So maybe not the most exciting match with me pausing to do my chatting with my adversary, but at the same time, there's a lot I do like about the Apocalypse there. As far as fleet strengths, I did do wide torpedo shots, but the basic rule of dodging torpedoes is pretty similar and pretty straightforward. If you can't just boost out of range or boost to avoid them completely, I would argue flattening or facing your prow or stern to the torpedoes helps tremendously in shooting, at least dodging torpedoes, especially since my opponent made the mistake of launching both, or if not all, their fighter squadrons. So that makes a big deal as well, even though they still technically shot down a lot of my torpedoes too. At least if they were patrolling on top of the battleships, or at least the ships that we're shooting at, they would prioritize the torpedoes that were at least most likely to hit them first. But still, hitting the broadside like that does pay off immensely, and as we've seen, just force him to repair to get that eventual critical hit, which, considering we're shooting at Grand Cruisers and battleships, was lucky. Let's not kid ourselves. Okay, Space Marines, at least in this case I'm comfortable knowing that almost all my weaponry, whether it be the torpedoes or the lances, are likely to get through the thick armor. The real trick is, of course, since it is still a slow and steady type of route, can I spot them early enough to put real pressure on them before they commit to like boring torpedoes or whatever shenanigans they might be doing. Knowing my luck, for whatever reason, we may be dealing with more of this, what is it, Lance and Thunderhawk type of strike cruiser fleet? I don't know the thought process behind that fleet, to be honest, since Space Marines are not exactly the best equipped to win through brute force, outside of like maybe their torpedoes possibly, and that's just because that ignores the shields and just goes straight to the juicy armor in a large ridiculous amount of damage, I might add, due to their lack of spread. So point blank shots or even really well aimed shots on something that can't dodge is likely to hit with all of them. I don't quite understand the reasoning, as much as I would like to see different playstyles and different types of strike cruisers or even just Space Marine fleets in general. since after all, in Armada 1, I tried really hard to make a Mark II battle barge work with a bunch of my vanguards, but sadly, they did not have the best synergy since the vanguards are pitiful at shooting down shields, especially the ones I had with the boring torpedoes. And I kind of want plasma bombs. I don't know how useful Micro Warp Jump is, but Stasis Bomb could be warranted. And they're immune to morale. I don't think I want any of these other upgrades.
Coordinates acknowledged.
So this kind of answers my question, doesn't it now? I'm wondering if I just go... Well, it's not the weapons I'm afraid of, it's their boarding. So maybe generators is not a ridiculous idea, I suppose, since it was kind of suggested a little bit in some of my matches where I've had difficulty killing off ships because of the lack of cruisers, or at least getting through the shields quickly. So launch bay, torpedoes, 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 torpedoes. This is a very expensive fleet. So you literally have no frigates at all.
Coordinates acknowledged.
I'm just wondering, normally the Thunderhawk strike cruiser is a lot more expensive than even all the other ships, so it's been I haven't actually looked at my ships all the best, but as far as the strike cruiser fleet, but they should just barely be able to afford this. I honestly don't know, since the boring torpedoes point cost would kind of nerf them a bit. And what kind of upgrades you got? Oh,
Your orders?
at least I don't have to worry about the Kulex's Assassin, that's the one plus. And I got a lot of weaponry in hell.
Ready.
I should go... Novacan kind of demands I go after engines anyway, because once their engines is gone, I have a good way to deal like half their health and damage almost,
We serve.
with a good torpedo shot.
Underway.
In all honesty,
Ready.
we'll play this by ear.
Coordinates
Actually,
acknowledged.
and I'm okay with this being revealed, because again, boring torpedoes are fine,
We wait your
because
command.
I got a dictator help to shoot down said boring torpedoes. I just gotta be mindful of the strike cruiser, or at least the Thunderhawks.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Aye, Admiral.
And I gotta keep in mind my range too, that's also gonna be a factor. So know when I can start shooting them early on, because again, they should have no frigates, so I can abuse the hell out of these gas clouds to an extent.
Aye, Admiral.
And I gotta make sure these torpedoes do work as well. Is the big thing. Otherwise, can only just sit and wait and have stasis bomb at the ready. And ideally, don't let my frigates get spotted in case they try to use these gas clouds. And no, I am not conceding, in case the game is wondering.
Understood.
Now,
We wait your command.
what am I most afraid of?
Engaging.
Just hit whatever is the first of opportunity. Sure, it may not be the flagship,
Underway.
but I am okay to deal with this.
Underway.
Can I at least get engine critical hits? That's the most important thing I want. It's the Lances are going to be great at doing that too.
The enemy has seized a
Well,
strategic area.
I think that got rid of the one weapon I'm most afraid of, so by all means, let's just destroy the next component.
Ready. Changing course.
And this will keep them back a little bit, although so far this fleet's kind of pretty simplistic so far. But wait till they get closer and lob torpedoes. I gotta be ready for that eventuality.
Setting course.
Okay,
Execute high energy turn. Coordinates acknowledged.
can I hit hard?
We serve.
While these ships are technically all but useless at this point,
Ship ready.
let's finish them off quickly.
Forward ahead, full.
Okay, your engines are gone there. Let's prioritize on you. And I have a plasma bomb coming up in a moment, so
Acquiring new vector.
permanent engine gone.
The Emperor. Reporting successful boarding
So
action.
far, this is being really damn brutal. What would be... Oh god, I'm getting bored. So hold that thought.
Ship ready.
So just call to arms and let that take the hits. Since my opponent decide to prioritize the flagship, which I argue is not what my opponent should be prioritizing. I am doing a bad job controlling my ships at the same time though, but these torpedoes are striking true. Now I just gotta get the killing blow. And get some fire results for good measure, because you know with 83 armor, this is even more important.
Changing course.
And this is where I comment a lot on call to arms, kind of heavily negating, focusing on a single ship to board. Because sure, my Apocalypse may be pretty well neutered, but I never really had an opportunity to fire its Nova Can anyway,
Acquiring new vector.
if I were to be honest. It's, again, the Apocalypse that are the bigger threat, and did I just fire torpedoes that did no good, I wonder.
We wait your command.
Oh, never mind. You actually did board heavily one of my Dictators, but
We serve.
at the same time, Dictators kind of...
Underway.
At least it's the support ship is what I would argue, and no, stop following my flagship.
Understood.
And that called arms did well at mitigating the boarding damage quite well.
25% of strategic points. You have accumulated 50%.
Now
of
let's finish this
strategic
off.
points.
A bit of a weird match, because this is normally a fleet that should be terrifying, especially if my opponent uses the dumbfire torpedoes really damn well too, to good effect. Because that, I feel like, was anything but close. Of course, having the convenience of firing them at max range and literally destroying 2 of their torpedo bays before the actual engagement really kind of crippled them. This is what, they only had 5 strike cruisers, and almost half of them with torpedoes was gone. I don't know what to make of that match. That was weird. It is a lower level player, so it probably had a lot to do with that, to be fair. But I'm curious. Is it actually possible to get... where is my fleet? Is it actually possible to get 6 strike cruisers? Oh, it actually is possible. It just requires no frigates. Which is a big issue for a lot of matchups. So I think I'm more partial to the Hunters, but yeah, the points line up in a way that I kind of should go with heavier frigates, but I like the boarding party for this setup. But this isn't about the Space Marines, this is about my Lance fleet, and so far, it's kind of been crushing it, hasn't it? Even if my opponent was not utilizing their fleet maybe to the best of their ability, that seems a little bit harsh to say, because I still feel like good use of dumbfire torpedoes is ridiculous damage if you catch an opponent off guard. Okay, Adeptus Mechanicus. Now we're getting into what's a little bit closer to a mirror match, if only vaguely. Since I got the battle cruisers, which arguably are a little more resilient to critical hits, if only slightly. But I also have a Nova Can to bear, but I did make the one mistake during one of my streams to get super aggressive on a Mechanicus player, thinking that maybe I would lose in a drawn-out long-range type of fight. And maybe that's true, because after all, I have torpedoes which encourage getting in close, versus them having Nova Cans and never mind the better accuracy to kind of fight me more effectively at range. And I'm trying to think of how I want to... Well, I don't really need 2 frigates, in all honesty, especially spotting. Outside this one gas cloud here, that might be the exception. And since they are kind of weak to morale, I think I'm tempted to get a Kulexus Assassin, but that requires me getting in close to reliably use it. Never mind, oh, I don't even have Disruption Overcharge, do I? Huh. For some reason I thought I had that. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better on my conscience, I suppose. But I'm thinking of Kulexus Assassin since I don't think ramming... Never mind that it was nerfed as well to only do 25% additional ramming damage. I don't think it's going to be enough to justify, especially what would probably be a lot more difficult to ram my opponent anyway. Now stop doing a 180 on me. Thank you. And ideally, I have the better close range firepower, so I should just bully him out of that gas cloud if my opponent decides to grab it. Is what it simply comes down to. And since I don't have Disruption Overcharge, let's just grab
Heading
the
acknowledged.
disruption bomb to help with that matter some. So far, we are looking at the usual 5 cruisers, maybe a battleship, which means they are lacking a frigate if they have a battleship, which helps a lot in my ability to secure this gas cloud. It's just not the best. Well, it's big enough that they could miss a couple of shots if I stay in there long enough and I'm not holding my fire, if I feel I should be worried.
Changing course.
Otherwise, this is good. Okay, you have a Defiance as well, so. And the oh, where the hell is that going? That's not going to where I'm at, so. We are facing. I don't know how I should feel about this. Sure, that's going to do a lot of damage over time if I get hit repeatedly by that ability. But I'm expecting not to get in close anyway, and if I do get close, I'm going to have a massive advantage with them not being able to at least effectively hit with their Nova cans, at least with all their Nova cans. And my ramming torpedoes are really damn good there. Even without the power rams, I still do 40% more damage, for crying out loud. And actually, let me try and reveal some of these ships in preparation for shooting them, since we are going to get close.
Changing course.
Okay, that is kind of aimed where my battleship may have to relocate a bit. Yep, there's another one there. I can easily dodge this. In fact, I'm just going to turn into dodging this one here. Once I evade it properly, just got to watch for Nova cans, and I am going to have to... Yeah, since they have a Defiance, I'm hoping I reveal them. That's going to be the big thing I want. And I don't know if all my cruisers are going to be able to dodge this, but so long as I can start hitting, that'll help a lot.
Targeting enemy vessel.
You have seized a strategic area.
Aye, Admiral.
Course engaged.
So we do have, like, maybe extended sensors on a frigate, or like...
Wait your command.
Since I was just spotted normally, or manually...
Course engaged. Your orders?
Omni sign, okay. I did prioritize engines, so
Aye, Admiral.
hold that thought. This is why I need to pay attention, because otherwise I'm going to get punished heavily.
Ship ready.
There, the shields took all that Nova can fire, so I'm fine with that. In worst case, I can just re-power up my... Yeah, I might as well boost up my combustion gauge already.
We serve.
Deny them disrupting my ability. Because, yeah, we're already crippling this one ship really damn well. And do I also... Well, actually, I could just ram this thing to death.
Understood.
Especially with a lack of scanner pulse.
Course engaged.
I just wish... Not only that I wish I rammed it, but... Rammed it properly, that is. That I hit with the melted torpedoes.
Maximum.
Because that would have... I've gone in that assuming
Aye, Admiral.
it burnt its scanner pulse. That was the one that pulsed me.
Turn.
Engaging engines.
Okay.
Burn retros.
Alright, get that out of there.
Acknowledged. Ship ready.
Hold that side. I don't want rebelling ships.
We wait your command.
But I do take a little bit of damage, but not too terribly much, I think.
Targeting
Yeesh.
enemy vessel.
Because I've been focusing so much on my ships,
Fury interceptors in
I have not paid attention to how much we're murdering theirs.
setting course.
Now let's correct this. This is where I'm strongest. So let's have fun with that, shall we?
We serve.
Coordinates acknowledged.
Now,
Initiate emergency.
can I continue to do more damage? Yeah, one of the cruisers is gone. Perfect. Disruption bomb is a go.
Your orders?
And we got torpedoes to boot.
Understood.
Actually, let's go after something that's properly terrifying.
Ship ready.
And I pretty much rammed myself in the process there. Or at least destroyed my frigate.
Engaging engines.
So the battleship's out of the fray. I'm okay with this.
Course engaged. Your orders.
Heading acknowledged.
Can I continue pummeling them since I already destroyed one of their ships? So can I do more? Especially with a Nova can to boot.
Lightning strike successful.
I'm not quite going to get a torpedo hit in, but the ram's convenient enough.
We serve. Underway.
The ship's still alive. I'm fine with that, because you're about to lose another cruiser. I just wish I had this cruiser in the fray a little bit more effectively.
We wait your command.
Doing a bad job controlling my fleet, but...
Damage.
Burn retros.
Nope, get firing, get ramming, get killing. We destroy everything. Morale is broken on that. If somehow I can make that be in its final phase... Actually, it's just going to lose its crew in a moment, so I'm fine with this.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Just got to be mindful I'm about to take a lot of damage there.
You have seized a strategic area.
It's that...
All is lost.
Ship ready.
Alright, this is still technically a victory. And with you just burning your rally, guess what I get to do now for completely freely?
Ship destroyed.
You have accumulated.
Not only do I get to fire melted torpedoes, this is going to hurt like hell.
Aye, Admiral. Setting
Yes.
course.
Panic, because that just opens up another melted torpedo salvo for me. Not as amazing a hit, but it did what was necessary.
Acknowledged.
Maybe I underestimated my fleet's potential, because that was damn effective as well. Sure, I only had 4 Nova cans to deal with,
Engaging engines.
as opposed to what you would normally encounter in 5.
Ship ready.
But not only did we get 5 objectives, or 3 objectives rather, I don't know where I got 5 from, but we got ourselves a nice little lead. And where's the torpedoes? Alright, let me ram you. Thank you for being accommodating.
Wait your command.
Course engaged.
And my morale's about to break again. No, say it isn't so.
We serve.
But like I said, maybe I underestimate my fleet a tiny bit. With,
Your orders.
like I said before, I did lose against Adeptus Mechanicus.
You have
With their fleet
accumulated
spread out kind of how it
75%
originally was
strategic
there.
points.
But I got super aggressive with my Armageddons. I burnt my summary execution to kind of boost my combustion gauge really damn early. And when I wasn't able to get in close range like I wanted, it fell apart slowly after that. Since I wasn't able to get the ramming and my combustion gauge was all but spent. So I think the moral of that story is I underestimate just how impactful I could be at long range because I wasn't even paying attention to what my fleet was doing. Never mind, I never got around to... Well, that's not entirely true. I did lightning strike one of their cruisers, so I was going to say the Culexus Assassin was all but useless there. Oh, I guess we're stuck with fighting nothing but humanoids, or humans rather, throughout this entire video. I'm a little bit disappointed. Sure, we're dealing with heretics, loyalists, and everything in between, but good God. I should have to do maybe another video with the Imperial Navy just for this alone. We need to kill some Xenos as well, damn it, to try my luck against something that's definitely diversely, dramatically different to my fleet here. Since pretty much everything, except to the exception of the Space Marines due to their reliance on boarding, are pretty similar to how my fleet functions in a lot of different ways. Sure, I have the lances of the comparable to of how Chaos like to play, at least a lot of Chaos fleets tend to play. I have the firepower kind of to match the Adeptus Mechanicus as we already seen, and I don't know what to say about Space Marines aside for don't let them get close until you already done enough damage to them. That's the moral of the story there. But, big question, do I really need to micro warp jump? I'm trying to figure how much it will help me here, since Plasma Bomb might be good for more damage front. Since I kind of want to get in my opponent's face, I just don't know what I'm actually facing off against, with that said. If they are like tyrants and a lot of macro cannons, I kind of want to take full advantage of my range strength. Regardless of that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Stasis Bomb for safety, Disruption Bomb to get at the juicy armor and start crippling them. And we'll play it by ear, because I still have close range firepower if by chance my opponent's using Grand Cruisers. It's just still 2,000 hit points to have to get through, even though they technically don't have torpedoes or anything like that to take full advantage of.
Changing course.
And right away, we're seeing 5 ships. I want to say these are Grand Cruisers. I'm thinking maybe to destroy the generators. I just don't know if that's the best choice or not, since we still have to detect what they are to get a semblance of how to approach this. And frigates, I kind of forgot to get you going. Let's fix that. Let's correct that.
Fury interceptors in flight.
Either way, we'll spot them. We'll see where the flagship is, which I'm going to assume that may be a battleship, since we're seeing only 5 ships here at the moment. So maybe I focus my damage there, since I am more likely to encounter them well beforehand anyway. And the beacon is not terrible, unless, well, outside of maybe denying me use of this gas cloud, since I'm going to get revealed in almost every circumstance, since I'm likely to go here anyway. But I think this beacon might just stop here around the center objective, so I'm not too worried yet. I just don't have any way to reveal. Actually, let me get these frigates going. I kind of am constantly neglecting them, since they haven't really had much use these past few matches, have they now? Since I haven't really needed them besides for opening up vision. Because hell, my fighters are going to spot these 3 really damn easily. Sure, they're going to hide in the gas cloud really quickly, but they're doing what I want of them. Since I don't expect... Oh, no, the beacon's still going. I am going to get revealed pretty soon, but...
Setting course.
That's not a huge issue. Just awkward placement of my frigates kind of being in the way, because yeah, just got detected, but looks like they'll conceal themselves quickly. And maybe it's a mistake letting the fighters fly back. Okay, tyrant.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
There's a lot of macro cannons, so my hunch on playing more the long range type of match is paying off, or at least justified here. I just gotta reveal these are ships now. At least so I can start shooting at them. Especially since my opponent would have to go into an asteroid belt if they hope to hide themselves.
Engaging engines.
Oh. This is a really odd fleet.
Coordinates acknowledged.
We got an Oberon and what looks like to be an Emperor, maybe?
We serve.
Which begs the question, where the hell are the fighters? If I were to be honest.
Heading acknowledged.
Since so far we both have 2 objectives, so it's not like they're getting a point lead on me anytime soon. And I can kind of punish them quite well. Once...
Changing course.
Hell, I might even have my Emperor or Apocalypse go in there. I just want to make sure it's able to shoot as well. But I'm not against this. I've been talking about how it's difficult to have the Apocalypse get shot at, so why not?
Enemy sighted.
Oh, apparently I flew into the beacon. Oh no. I think there's a frigate that spotted me that just didn't get spotted by a scanner pulse, as made apparent with the scanner pulse we just got hit by. Oh, speaking of which, there it is.
Your orders. Engaging engines.
Now let's get past the debris so we can actually shoot at them properly. Because these things do have a lot of fighter bays and... Okay, I'm not...
We serve.
Time to go demonstrate what I was talking about before about the torpedoes with the Chaos match.
Ready.
I should mitigate this damage incredibly well.
Fury interceptors in flight.
And protect my frigate at the same time.
Setting course. Heading acknowledged.
Although bad time to turn I suppose, but hell, we just dodged all the torpedoes without even trying. That was a bit of luck, I will admit.
We serve.
But let's go after these ships.
Your orders.
Because I kind of want you to go after the ship, so why... Indulge me, why don't you?
Brace for impact.
Although
Underway.
that wasn't the torpedoes, thankfully, so I'll happily take that.
Aye, Admiral.
Short burn torpedoes will hit that hard.
We wait your command.
Now, bombers are gonna hurt like hell, but
Brace for impact.
I'm not against brace for impact here, since lock-on stance is really just for critical hit, and reload does very little for me as well.
Your orders?
I'm sorry to say that's not going to be as helpful as you think it is.
Ship ready.
So, I think another match is in my future, another video is in my future, I suppose, because hell, I'm doing all sorts of damage to this cursed thing.
Serve.
And already, the Emperor is gone.
You have accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Ooh, an engine critical hit as well to complement this.
Burn retros.
Flatten ourselves and show them how it's done.
Coordinates acknowledged.
Because now you're doing the big mistake with torpedoes.
Engaging target.
Say hello to my broadside. Although sadly, oh, your torpedoes were down anyway, so that wasn't a big deal. Or a big loss anyway.
Execute high energy turn. Heading acknowledged.
Let's show these people how it's done. Although I'm burning way too much of my combustion gauge when I didn't wish to. It is a bit spread out damage, but
Engaging
we'll
engines.
correct that quickly by actually getting some kills here.
Command. Your orders?
All the while, let's actually board something, because I'm kind of squandering a little bit of my resources. Even though realistically, it would only be the tyrants I'd probably kill the crew of in a reasonable pace.
We wait your command.
Let's see, torpedoes in 8 seconds.
In course.
Enemy ship
And Novacan also firing. I kind of forgot that. Not that matters. This is over already.
50% of strategic points.
Did more damage to myself,
Engage.
but damn. That was, if nothing else, a good demonstration of what I was talking about. As opposed to that one Chaos match where they let me hit their
The
broadside
enemy
with
has
those long-range
accumulated
torpedo shots.
25% of strategic points.
Maybe not the most exciting series of matches, but hopefully it's a good demonstration of the basic game mechanics and how to get the most out of dodging torpedoes. Never mind, individual control of the ship certainly help, I won't lie.